Hello, everyone. Welcome to Late Night Live featuring me and Samwell, who no doubt is probably in a fantastic mood with Liverpool currently losing at the moment. But will that be our famous last words? We're going to talk about the English clubs in Europe and how how the mighty have fell. We're going to discuss, more importantly, Michael Olise snubbing Manchester United. Updates on Rafael Varane and Maguire's future, and some complimentary words from Cesc Fabregas on Kobbie Mainoo as well, and his bits about Cesc. So there is loads to get into on this Late Night Live. So as always, make sure you get involved in the comment section and smash that like button. Yeah, I don't know if you've got one eye on it. I've got a game on at the moment, Sam, so I will keep an eye on it. We definitely will.
I've got it here on the side on my other monitor, so.
We will definitely get into that, don't worry about it. I want to kick things off with Michael Olise, because David Ornstein dropped a little bit of a bombshell earlier on today, saying basically if Michael Olise leaves Crystal Palace in the upcoming window, I expect it would only be for one of the small number of most prominent Champions League clubs. Now, I'm not sure how to say this. When I first read it, I was like, right, well, in other words, it's Arsenal City, basically. But the way it's worded, I expect it would only be for one of the small number of most prominent Champions League clubs. Did you take that the same way?
I took it as in clubs that are in the Champions League.
Yeah.
That's how I took
but then
it.
I was like, Champions League clubs, and I don't know. Maybe I'm just going a little bit away with it. The point is, it makes it extremely difficult for us, of course, even like stepping into the negotiating table when we don't have Champions League football, and we might not even have European football whatsoever. So, in regards to that, it's quite a big blow, isn't it?
Yeah, like I've watched him a number of times this season, and apart from Eze, he's probably Crystal Palace's best player, I'd say. So he's clearly destined for bigger things. I'm sure didn't City inquire about him or something last summer?
Last summer, Chelsea and City, I think it was.
Yeah, so there's clearly interest from big top clubs, and if it's the Champions League teams that are in the Champions League, that's Chelsea and us out, because neither of us I mean, to be honest with you, neither of us are going to have European football at this rate.
Conference League,
even if that. So you're thinking Arsenal. I don't see where he fits in. Arsenal, like, I think they've got those positions pretty much covered. You've got Trossard, Saka, you've got
Martinelli.
Well. That's the one I was looking for. Jesus can play out there. I assume they're going to sign a big striker, and that's where most of their money's going to go this season. So you don't see that. And then it's City or Liverpool, isn't it? They're the two sort of clubs you look at. But again, Liverpool are quite fully stocked on the forwards department. So it's like City's probably the front runner. So if it's City, or it's going to be City or somewhere in Europe, I assume, if he wants Champions League, because the other ones don't make sense. And yeah, I don't know. Would he be happy pretty much sitting on City's bench, which is what he would be doing?
It would, because there's a lot of talk about Bernardo Silva going to
every year,
Barcelona.
though, isn't it? Every year, Bernardo Silva.
I know, but it's getting stronger and stronger, and a lot of stuff coming out from like Gundogan and people who are involved around there. So maybe they're looking at it like that as like a contingency thing to say, if he does go, then maybe we can bring in someone, because they'll still get about 40 million probably for Bernardo Silva now.
Yeah. Well, he signed a new deal, didn't he? He signed a new deal.
Yeah.
I think he only got a release clause. Bernardo Silva.
He might have, 50 to 60 million, I think it may be. But yeah, the point is, like, even with Liverpool, if Salah leaves Liverpool, maybe they'll look at that right-hand side and, likewise. Maybe. So it just depends on moving kind of objects in that sense. But is it a priority position for United?
I mean, is it the priority position? No. But if every position I can think of, we need someone, I'd say. You need a centre-back, maybe two. We need 2 midfielders. We need a striker. I'd say we need a right winger, because Jadon Sancho's on loan. Don't know what's going to happen with him. Anthony hasn't worked, and then obviously if Ten Hag goes, then maybe Anthony goes with him. Amad Diallo, not happy with the amount of playing time. He could go. So that leaves your right wing option as what? Garnacho, who wants to play on the left. And you don't have anybody else, so like it could be a problem area, like for United. I wouldn't say, like, if I was picking 1 to 3 the problem positions, it wouldn't be number 1 or 2 in my head. But I think it wouldn't be that far below there.
I'd probably agree with that, to be honest. I think striker, centre back would be more my
Midfield.
kind of, and then Casemiro. Again, we're talking about midfield, and it's utter madness. But yeah, we're talking about midfield again. So there is, I get what you're saying. There's more priorities, but even like from the attacking sense, we need a creative winger. We actually do, because a lot of our players are great in transition. They're kind of selfish. We don't have that Olise player. And do you know what? The more I watch of him, I don't like his injury record. We've said that before previously. But the more I watch of him, the more I like of him. Like how classy he is on the ball from a technical standpoint, his footballing brain, he's really, really good. So it's a bit of a blow for me personally, but again, he's not the only player on there, and he won't be the only player,
It's our own fault. Like, we haven't performed this season to get the right to play in the Champions League. And even if we were in the Champions League, let's be honest, we ain't winning it. Like, we aren't good enough to do that. So in our own fault, in our own heads, it's like, well, this is where we are as a club. So people like Michael Olise is probably the next level above, where we're not quite at yet. Maybe we need to like bring our level down to like where we are actually at. I think as well, you talk about creative technicians on the wing and stuff like that. It just seems like Ten Hag doesn't want that type of winger. Just doesn't seem like he's interested in it, because otherwise Amad Diallo would be in there because that's what he does.
Say that.
Jadon Sancho would be in there because that's what he does. He wants quick, direct wingers who are going to cut in and shoot. That's what he wants. That's why Rashford plays every game. That's why he's trying to force Anthony into this squad, and it's why Garnacho plays every game, because that's what they do. He's not interested in these technical wizardry who get assists and able to take on players and step over. It's not what he wants. And everybody's asking why Amad doesn't play and why he insists with Anthony and stuff like that. This is why, because he just doesn't want that type of player. But who's to say if Ten Hag moves and another coach comes in, maybe they do want that sort of player.
Yeah, maybe they'll bring in your Sancho on the left, Amad on the right, and control possession, keep all of it a lot more. It's bizarre to me how we have a player who loves to play in the half spaces and combine with players, and he's a more creative thinker who we don't play. It's such a strange thing. The criticism of Amad was always his work rate off the ball, but from everything I've seen, he works pretty hard. So
just don't
always
fit
a bizarre one.
Don't fit the system that Ten Hag's trying to play. For good or bad, the way he's acted about it has maybe not helped his position with liking tweets like we've been through social media. So that's probably not helped either. But on the same thing, he probably just doesn't fit the system. And if Ten Hag stays, I don't know what his plan would be with Olise. Like, what is he trying to do? Because it's not his profile of player. So it's interesting.
Yeah, I think like I just mentioned before, I think it's going to weigh on a lot of things in it. Players outgoing, if the manager stays or leaves. Like, there's a lot of things up in the air at the moment. But it looks like Ineos are kind of going down that release clause market. Maybe a couple of frees like your Barclays or someone like that. Like, the reality of the situation is, due to FFP, due to us not being in Europe, like we've just spoken about as well, we are going to have to box clever, right? And I think we're being linked with someone like Benjamin Cesc, who Chelsea and Arsenal are also interested in. He has a release clause. It's like 50 million euros, I think it is, which is a steal in my opinion. You've got Frimpong, who we've spoken about, who also has 35. A release clause of like 35 million, is it? Something along the lines of that. So it does seem like they're trying to box clever. I'm not going to say do you admire that, but do you think that's the right kind of way to go?
Yeah, well, I don't like that the signings are obvious, because how many times have you spoken about...
Is Cesc obvious, do you think?
Well, you've spoken about him on this channel many a time, and
I know, but
you're not.
I don't know if... I think obvious is like Harry Kane, isn't it?
Yeah, but you're not a scout analytical guy who like goes and watches games from various leagues and just that's what you spend your time doing. Like, you just notice good players that you like and like point them out. And we were linked with him under Ollie, I believe. Was it under Ollie we were linked with him when he was at Salzburg?
I think so.
Because he was like labelled the Haaland regen or the Haaland 2.0 because of his stature. And he's going a similar path to Haaland, Salzburg, Leipzig, etc.
Yeah.
So I know he's been labelled there. Like, the Frimpong's a very obvious signing, I think, as well. We need a fullback. He's just won the league with Leverkusen. Possibly might win a treble at this point as well. If Ten Hag stays, if Frimpong came in, does he come and play like a back five? I don't think he does, and I think that's the system he thrives in, and he looks really, really good in it. Can he translate that to a back four? I don't know. It'd be interesting to see.
I think the majority of wing backs who I've seen who play there a lot, so like like your Alonso's, for example, Chilwell at Chelsea did it a lot. When they drop into that back four, they never ever look comfortable defensively, and that's something that worries me. And we're quite bad defensively as it is anyway.
He's very forward thinking as well. Like, he wants to score goals, he wants to get a thing, he wants to assist. Like, that's what he's all about. And in the Leverkusen system, it fits really well, and he does fantastic at it. But asking him to play the way Ten Hag wants to play, or maybe another coach wants to play, might be a bit different, and you might not see the best of him. You might not see like the player that you're seeing right now. Cesc, I think the kid's talented. I think he's got a lot of qualities. Big guy. Does he play too similar to Højlund though? Is he too similar of a player?
That's the one thing I was going to mention. Stylistically, they are similar. They are, quite that big stature.
Yeah.
Engines quite fast in behind, but can also play to feet. I'd probably say from what I've seen of Cesc, his all-around game's a little bit better. So, like with Højlund, I don't know if you'd agree with this, but his touch sometimes can be a little bit off. He seems a little bit scrappy with the ball. Yeah, he's not like as fundamental as you've seen with other strikers. That's probably something I'd say from what I've seen of them both. But again, both in different leagues, different situations. So I do agree with that. I think a prototype, someone like a Julian Alvarez, for example, let's just say, or a Griezmann, or someone like that, like a 9.5 almost, who can play a multitude of positions. That's what I'd go for. Yeah.
That's why Harry Kane was on the list, because he's the ideal striker.
It's different. It's different to a Højlund for sure. It's a difficult one though, because I do really like Cesc. So if we signed him, I wouldn't be opposed to it. Do you know what I mean? But again, I don't know. I think you can look at all the players in Cesc, Frimpong, and Olise all were release clause. You could say if we didn't sign them this summer, there wouldn't be a surprise, would there?
No, but I think we need to think differently now. Not only because of where we are in the league and Europe and all that sort of stuff, but also we need to think in terms of system now. Like, whatever system we're trying to play, we need to get players that fit a system and are ideal to the system. And as much as Olise is a fantastic player, technically, like we've just touched on, technical creativity and stuff, is that what Ten Hag's looking for? Because why buy him if he's not going to fit into his plans? Same with Frimpong, same with Cesc. Great players, no doubt. Not saying I wouldn't be happy if we signed them, but are we going to end up in the same situation where we've got all these players from different managers who play different systems, and then they don't fit in, and then they're on massive wages, and do you know what I mean? You just have this continuous chaos. Like, I don't want that anymore. Like, I want us to have an idea and a system, and you bring players in. Like, City built a team for Pep before he even came to the club, because they wanted to know what he wanted to do. Liverpool built a team around Klopp's like vision and how he wants to play. Brighton do it. Like, no matter who the manager is at Brighton, they're going to play this way, and they're getting players to do that. Like, this is the way we need to model ourselves. So, great players, and I'm not I don't want to be clipped up saying, I don't want them, because they're fantastic, but I think we need to think differently. If they're going to fit into a system, fantastic. If not, why are we buying them? Because they got release clauses. It's a little bit different.
Has to be the perfect marriage in it, with especially like Dan Ashworth coming in and Wilcox. I mean, they'll have an idea of the way they want to take United. But I always see Sir Jim Ratcliffe referring to United as this, electric counter-attacking team. So I think he kind of believes in that ethos in a sense, which is why I'm 50-50 on Ten Hag in terms of if he also let him go. Because I remember listening to an interview as well, which you would have seen yourself on BBC Sports, where Ratcliffe is saying, every manager's failed. There's been some big managers here as well under this kind of umbrella. And they ask him, the report says, who's to blame for that? And he's like, well, I don't think it's very constructive for me to do this.
He didn't want to put the Glazers on the cost.
No, he didn't want to just say it's Glazers because they're fucking idiots. But the point is, like, it seems like there's wiggle room there for like 6-month period with Ten Hag. And then with that in mind, you're absolutely right. Like, I don't know if players like Olise will come in. I'm not saying they can't play on like a transition, but the way we're playing at the minute, if you want control, is your guy. If you want to end-to-end kind of, I don't know if it would work. I'd probably have to agree with that.
I think there's going to be after an idea of the system this summer. So if Ten Hag does stay, they're going to have to come up with a thing. Look, this is the way we want the team to play. Are you capable of doing that? If so, we'll back you and we'll get the players in to do it. If not, maybe then there is a partner ways that, like, I know Ten Hag is very stubborn in his ideology and what he wants to do.
Yeah.
So maybe he just goes, look, this is the way I want to play. I don't want to do it that way. And then maybe that's when they part ways. Or maybe he does get given, look, this is what we want to do. We think you're the guy to do it. We'll give you 6 months to like get it together. We'll get some players in. But these are players for the system, not players ones you recommended and ones you're after. And then he gets to January, and if things have not improved, then you can like shake hands and part ways, and then you've already got players in for the system you want to play, depending on which manager you want to bring in. I think that'd be the smart way to do it, instead of letting Ten Hag off all this control over transfers, which hit and miss at best, I'd say.
Yeah. I think the wage bill is something they're looking at as well. Our good friend James from Muppeteers put a tweet out before about Maguire and Varane basically being the two centre-backs that are most likely to leave in the summer. The Varane one's a weird one with me. And again, I'd like to get your opinion on this. Because I would keep him around, obviously on a lower wage, but I don't think he wants to do that from what I've read. I don't think he does, so I think he will go, which would be a shame. Which then it almost makes it impossible for the amount of things we have to do in the summer for players we're going to have to replace. I don't know how they're going to do it. I don't know if they're going to promote quite a few from within. I have absolutely no idea. But just your thoughts on that situation, Maguire and Varane being the most kind of obvious centre backs to leave. Do you think that's the right ones to go?
I think Maguire is a very sellable asset. We saw last summer West Ham very interested, and it didn't end up happening. He's worth, 35, 40 million, I would say. Maybe a little bit more if you're being generous. So he's a very sellable asset, and if anything, I think his price has gone up, or at least stayed consistent, because he's had a decent season compared to previous performances. So he's a sellable asset with Scott McTominay. I think you could sell them and make a decent chunk of change to go towards new signings. And then, like you said, with a wage bill, Varane, I imagine, I don't know what his wage is, but I imagine it's quite high.
300,000 a week.
There you go. So, yeah, big wages, and you get them off your books. If you get him off your books, you get Casemiro off your books. I imagine Martial's on quite a bit of a wedge as well. It's close to like $1 million a week there. Like $1 million a week off the books, and you can invest that in several players, which helps your SRP. Is that what it's called?
I have no idea nowadays.
PSR, whatever the acronym is. That helps to balance the books. You get these massive wages and you can reinvest, etc. So it makes sense. I'm with you. I think if we could keep Varane on a lower wage, I think it'd be great to sort of be that stopgap. Say we get a Branthwaite, a Todibo, whoever it is, a Lenny, Yoro, we get them in, and he's around to experience, coach, teach them to develop, and he can fill in those gaps and not have to play every game and then get injured like he does. So I think that would be the smart thing. But like you said, if he doesn't want to sign it, you can't make him, and he'll probably go elsewhere, and somebody will pay him a decent wage because of who he is and his name. So it's a shame if he doesn't stay, because I do like the guy, but we have to balance the books at the minute, and we have to get these wages off the books, so people like Varane, Casemiro, etc. are going to be the ones on the chop.
I think they need to be careful how many experienced players they do get rid of, because if you get rid of Varane and Maguire, say what you want about Maguire, I think he's been all right this season, but he's still probably got about, 200 appearances for United, let's say, for example. Varane, 5-time Champions League winner, was the captain. World Cup with Varane as well. Casemiro, 5-time Champions League. If you can get rid of him, you're almost going to have no experience and no trophy, like finals experience within your team, which is, again, you really do need to be careful with that. I mean, they could go and buy experienced players who've won trophies in Europe and stuff, and that's fine, but they then have to adapt to the club. Like, I do think it's a massive transitional season for us, which is weird to say because we expected that last season, didn't we? Under 10.
You could end up like Chelsea, because that's pretty much what Chelsea are right now, aren't they? It's full of the players who don't have zero experience in beyond.
Apart from Thiago Silva's the only one, isn't it? Really?
Sterling, maybe. Like, he's been there, won stuff. So you got 2 experienced players. The rest of them are like early 20s, first big club they've been to, first time they're getting match in, match out, and stuff like that. And you can see the chaos that's reigning at Chelsea in a minute. Like, they're all over the place. Sometimes they play some excellent football. Other times they get battered 4-0. Like, it's ridiculous. And United could find themselves in that similar position, like you said, if we let go of the likes of Casemiro, the likes of Varane, Maguire. You'd be left with like who the experienced players then, like Bruno, Rashford, who just doesn't seem interested in the slightest.
Yeah, he's not a leader though, Rashford, is
No,
he? That's the painful thing.
And then you relied on people like Leacher, who's not been there long enough, but he is a leader, but he's not been there long enough and won stuff with us. And then Luke Shaw. It's like it's worrying. Yeah, it is slightly worrying with the sort of lack of leadership.
I know I am like a parrot with this, and I know I say it so many times, but I am looking forward to this Ineos window to see what goes on. One player who we know will most likely be staying, or we at least hope will be doing, is someone like Kobbie Mainoo, Sam. Fabregas has been saying a couple of interesting things on him, which I want to dive into the quotes. Hopefully he can go all the way because it'd be great for football. He plays without fear, and this is what I love about him. He just wants the ball, wants to make things happen. I always talk about the attitude and the personality. This is what makes a really, really good player in difficult moments, and he's showing that. Why do you think it is? Why he's so calm in a team that's so chaotic at the age of 18? Well, what is it? Just purely that his temperament he's quite a cool guy, or is it more than that?
I think that's part of it. He's clearly a very relaxed individual. He's very, very chill. Apparently, he went to this is anecdotal, but one of my girlfriend's favorite restaurants is a Vietnamese place in town, and one of her friends were there, and Kobbie was in there eating. And people going up to him all the time, and he was just nice, chill, was taking photos with people, having a chat. Just no superstar thing, no don't bug me, like none of that. He was just very, very chill and being really nice to everyone. It just seems like a genuine lad, which probably helps. I think it was Steve Howson did a sort of breakdown of where it's from. Apparently he played futsal, which is a sort of it is football, and it's like five-a-side, but it's very different. Apparently you get a lot more time on the ball. You have the ball at your feet a lot, and you have to have great control, and it's tight pitches and tight games and stuff like that. And he was playing that since he was a kid, and that's how they sort of, I think, team scouted him and picked him up. So I think that's where, in that sort of thing, you've got to be able to think clearly under pressure and be able to just make quick decisions and go. So I think that definitely helped him, and I think that's definite a part of his game and a part of his character. But then on top of that, his personality is that way as well. But Fabregas sort of praising himself. It's like class recognises class, man. Great midfielders recognise great midfielders, and if you're getting praise from a guy like Cesc Fabregas, who's been there, done it, and won it all, that's got to feel pretty good, man. And you've got to recognise that this kid's got something. If Cesc Fabregas is saying he's a good player.
Yeah, because I was thinking, like, Kobbie's quite a temperamental guy, and he's quite cool. But I think even him, seeing them words from someone like Fabregas, who was such a good fucking player in that position, he would be like, like, I'm doing something right. And the thing is, Sam, like, genetically, England don't usually produce players like this, do they? No. Like, you look at how he is. We've missed that for so long. People talk about the golden generation all the time, and how they was kind of shoehorning Gerrard, Scholes, and Lampard in. And, you bring in players like Carrick and Kobbie, you have that, decent... I'm not saying they're similar players in that sense, but they're very calm and they bring balance to the midfield is what I love about him. And I think he talks about his personality. It looks like he's been playing for a long time. They need to recruit players who can gain this quality on the pitch to make him more brilliant. With these talented players, the better quality they get around him, the better they get. So I'm expecting a big summer. But next season, he needs to be a key player no matter what. He's not only the future, he's the present already. Who would be the perfect partner alongside him? Because it obviously ain't Casemiro, is it, at the minute? No. Like, he's completely fell off. We don't need to dive into that. Who would go good alongside him? Even go past, present, whatever it is you want to do. Who would be the perfect fit next to him for you, do you think?
There's a couple of players I like at the minute who are doing really good things. Zubamendi, I like a lot. It's Sociedad, I think he plays for, isn't it?
Yep.
I've watched him play quite a bit. I think he would be a great partner. I'd love Declan Rice next to him, but obviously that's never going to happen.
In an ideal world.
Ideal world, that would be fantastic. Yeah, somebody of that ilk, somebody of that profile would be great. Somebody who can. So I think Kobbie has got qualities of a 6, but I think he's clearly an 8. Like, I think that's the position he wants to play. He wants to play and like go a little bit higher up pitch. So somebody who can sit in the 6, take care of the ball, take it from the centre backs and play it out to Kobbie and sort of match up with him when we have to sit in and stuff like that. Anyone around that profile would be fantastic. I think Declan Rice would be the perfect partner. I'm really interested to see if Southgate has some balls and fucking plays Kobbie Mainoo, Declan Rice and Jude Bellingham. I want to see that midfield because I think that could be fucking phenomenal. Like, really fucking phenomenal. Maybe with Foden on the left. I know Saka got a bit of stick after Arsenal's performance. The other.
But he's our best right winger, isn't
he? He is the best right winger. So
he is.
That is a hell of a front line with Harry Kane leading it. Like, that's killer. So I'd be interested to see if he does it. I don't think he will, but I would love to see that. So yeah, anybody with that thing. Also, Liverpool are out of the Europa League. So
yeah, I was just.
Happy
so we're going to
days.
discuss the English teams in Europe. I left it for last because I was waiting for this game to finish. Henry in the chat, Leverkusen goal 89. I'm glad they've kept that unbeaten streak going because it was 1-0 down to West Ham. We've got Alban in the chat saying sweet. Nice to see you as well, Alban. Make sure you do smash a like on the video. We just got a little bit more on the Kobbie Mainoo quotes from Fabregas, and then we'll touch on the teams because that's my favourite bit. Woke up this morning with a spring in my step with all these teams going out. So, but yeah, how much? Just to kind of conclude on Kobbie, Sam, how much better can he get? Do you think? Because obviously he looks really interesting now, looks really good.
Yeah.
But 18 years old, got another hopefully 15 years in football. Where can he go to? What's outrageous to think, he can be on a similar level to this guy? Or, like, what's the measurement, do you think?
You've got to sort of, like, aim high, haven't you? If he's already showing this consistency and this level of ability and this level of maturity at 18... Like, I know there's a lot of players who show great promise and they show great sort of, oh my God, this guy is going to be a star, and then they don't ever make it sometimes. They don't never seem to reach that level or kick on to get to the next level. But if he does that and he can push that, you've got to put him up there with like the likes of great midfielders from Manchester United, Paul Scholes, Roy Keane, like Michael Carrick, like you mentioned. He's got to be in that conversation. If he carries on the trajectory that he's doing, which I hope he does, he's got to be in that consideration. However, the one factor that will negate that is if we don't win anything with him. We have to win trophies. Like, that has to cement. Like, you could build your foundation up and make yourself a great player, but I think winning trophies is what cements your legacy. I think at the end of the day, like, there's been a lot of players who've not won major trophies, so it's like I think that's the combination of the two that what makes an absolute legend at Manchester United. So I think hopefully he can keep building on it. Like Fabregas said, get the right players around him, and he builds and builds, and as he gets older, he gets more knowledge, his maturity builds, and he realises his football sense becomes better within Premier League, within Champions League. He starts winning trophies, so he knows what it's like to win. He's got that experience, and it just goes on from there, and hopefully he becomes one of the best midfielders we've ever produced from our academy, and one of the best midfielders to play for us. But long way to go yet, long way to go. But I'm excited. I like him a lot. He's come out of the blue, really, hasn't he?
Yeah, it has. How to phrase this? What teams would Kobbie Mainoo not get in Europe right now?
Maybe City. I don't know if he can break into that. You got Rodri.
But he'd fit the style in the same breath, though,
like,
wouldn't
he definitely, like, if Pep had him, he'd bring him on at some. He'd bring him on in game, like, absolutely, like.
Yeah.
But can he break into that De Bruyne, Rodri? No. I don't know. I don't think so. That one, the Madrid one's tough as well. Like, does he get into Madrid midfield?
Tchouaméni, Camavinga, Valverde. It's tough.
And then you got Toni Kroos and Modric on the bench to come on.
Even Modric at the age of 38 came on yesterday. I was watching the guy. I'm just like, this guy's class, man.
That's a tough one to break into. I think, top tier ones, he's probably going to be tough. But I think pretty much any team in the Premier League beyond Man
getting
City.
Liverpool's, wouldn't they?
Oh, absolutely. Like, I like Szoboszlai. really good
Yeah,
player.
yeah.
I really like McAllister. I think McAllister's fantastic, but I think he can be in that midfield. Like, I don't think he'd look out of place. I hope he never fucking plays for him, by the way.
No, of course not. Yeah. Obviously, a Manchester-born lad as well.
Yeah.
Let me know in the comments what you think. Kobbie Mainoo, would he get in most teams in Europe? What's his level and how high do you think his potential is? Just to end the show, we're going to recap on the clubs in Europe. We've got the Liverpool game that's just finished in the Europa League now. I had my Madrid shirt on yesterday watching the Man City penalty shootout, like I was a Madrid fan. And we also had Arsenal who bottled it in the Champions League again against Bayern Munich. Yeah, shocker. What were your thoughts on the game, Sam? Just quickly on City and Arsenal first, and then we'll discuss Liverpool in a moment.
When I stopped laughing, which took me a while. Arsenal, like any Arsenal fan who thought they were going to do anything in Champions League is deluded, man.
Yeah.
Of course you're going to bottle it. Of course you're going to bottle it.
Have you seen the comments on that short I did on the predictions?
Idiots. Idiots, man.
Of course he was going to bottle it.
Like, this is what you do. You've bottled it every single time you've had an opportunity to win something.
Yeah. In one week.
You keep saying this as well with Arteta. They keep going, oh, he's building something. How long has he been at the club now? 4 years? 5 years? What's he won? An FA Cup?
Yeah.
You challenge for a league and you've sort of got to a quarter-final. The best thing you've done in Europe is beat Porto on penalties. It's the best thing you've done.
Did you see what the admin put out on their thing saying what a great run we've had? And they played, I think, in their group, correct me if I'm wrong, they had PSV.
Yeah.
They had Sevilla and they had Lens, I think, in the group, right? And they played Porto. And then they played a Bayern Munich team, who, by the way, have just lost the league for the first time in 12 years or whatever it is.
Porto, they had to go to penalties to beat him. They didn't even beat him in full time. They had to go to fucking penalties to beat Porto.
And the admin puts, what a great run we've had. Like, fantastic. Mate, you've had a Europa League run, really. Honestly. And then the shit Bayern team.
Right. Arsenal are in, like, Arsenal's a team I don't mind so much. The fans, though, I can't stand Arsenal fans because they're so deluded and they're so fucking hyped up about their own team despite not winning anything for, 25 years? They've not won a fucking league or a...
I think the last league title they won was probably 03, 04, something like that, I think.
Mate, relax. You need to realise where you are. Great, you're challenging for stuff, but you're not won anything. Yeah. Like, just calm the fuck down. And City, I mean, what has Bernardo Silva doing with that penalty? Why have you hit it down the middle? Like, just pick a corner and smash it, mate. It goes in. Like, why?
I suppose the thing is that if you leave it to the lottery of penalties, there's nothing you can do in that sense. Yeah. Like, I thought City, I was not surprised because you've seen City, they are a juggernaut at the moment, but how much they dominated Madrid with the players that Madrid have, world-class talents, they was all suffocating them. Madrid looked knackered as well and just couldn't get out. Like, they got maybe a couple times to go out with Vinicius and Bellingham, and apart from that, like, they deserved to win it, really, in reality, not being bitter or anything.
I think some of the City fans were like, oh, Madrid didn't come to play, like, they're ruining football. It's like, mate, they found a way to beat you.
Yeah.
Like, they found a way to do it. Like, it doesn't matter if it's not stylistically fun or you think your job as Manchester City is to break them down. Like, you have to break. If they're going to sit in, like, that's what teams are allowed to do. If they're going to sit in, you have to break them. So fucking break them down, and you didn't. You took it to penalties, and like you said, penalties is a lottery. Yeah. Like, you take your chances with penalties. It can go either way. So I think, it was a terrible penalty for Bernardo Silva, and then they had all their penalty takers off as well, didn't they? They took Alvarez off. Yeah.
Well, do you know De Bruyne and Haaland asked to go off, right? And I was thinking at the time, Bruno Fernandes, as his faults that he has, played centre back for us at Liverpool when he was fucked. Like, you could tell he was.
Maguire did last week. Maguire played with an injury. Like, he got injured in the first half and he played through because we don't have anybody else.
Question marks there. Brian saying, evening lads, can you taste the sweet Scouse tears? Absolutely. Yes. Arsenal can now concentrate on bottling the league again. Madrid conceded 33 shots to City. Ancelotti out. Yeah, they was battered from pillar to post. There's no two ways about it. But Madrid showing what they do, the prestige in the competition. This is one of the reasons why I said about Arsenal, they will be knocked out by Bayern Munich because they don't have that prestige in the competition. No matter what form Bayern are in at the moment, right?
No pedigree.
They haven't got any pedigree. They was out of the depth. You see what Saka did in like 93rd minute when he had a corner? and he just put it out, and you're like, what on earth are you doing? Like, so there's question marks, man. Now we get to our final bit of the show. We've got about 5 minutes to absolutely rinse Liverpool, which is going to be amazing. Klopp's farewell tour, Sam.
Oh, it's going well,
we
isn't
got
it?
beat. Yeah. 3-0 off Atalanta at Anfield, which was just madness, utter madness. 1-1-0 tonight, but obviously that isn't enough. No. Knocked out of the FA Cup by the greatest team in the world. Just joking. But it's not going to plan, is it?
It's fantastic, isn't it? Like,
I love it.
I am here for it. Like, Klopp is on his farewell tour, and all these Scousers are wanting a happy ending. He gets to win all these trophies and sign off with a bunch of medals and trophies. And it's looking like he might not win fucking anything, which I'm all here for. You're out of the Europa League. That was your trophy and your fake treble that you were trying to go. We're going to win a treble. It's like, is it a treble though? It's fucking not, is it? You got knocked out of the I don't know why my phone's gone off. You got knocked out of the FA Cup because you played a United team who, in your words, are one of the worst United teams of all time, yet you haven't beat us all season. Yeah, not once. You played us 3 times and we've beaten you twice. Oh no, we've drawn twice and we've beaten you once. And we're the worst team and you guys were going for a treble. So I'm fucking here for it. And it looks like they're falling apart in the league as well because they lost last weekend. And City are taking advantage, which I don't want City to win the league. But it's still funny that the Scousers are not going to win one either. So yeah, fucking hilarious. And I hope I wish it could stay another year. It's going to happen again. It'd be fantastic.
Yeah. The reason why your phone just buzzed, by the way, is because I sent a picture of Klopp sat on like a water cooler or something. I don't know what it is, but it just looks absolutely fuming.
Let me get
it. And it says something like about that quadruple and then ... or something. So yeah, I just thought maybe you could be able to bang that on the screen because it's
let's save this.
It's like he's ready for a rap battle or something. But yeah, crazy. I couldn't believe that result. Like Liverpool at home. I don't know what the record was before Atalanta turned up, but losing at home is very, very rare for them. It doesn't happen very often. So to beat 3-0 by a team, I don't even know where Atalanta are in the league. I'm pretty sure they're 5th or 6th or something.
They're not fucking challenging for the title, are they?
Let's have a look. Yeah, they're 6th in the league, and they battered them 3-0. Like even the Palace game as well, they completely... Don't know what happened there. Madness. How do you see them?
Their forwards are malfunctioning, aren't they, as well? Like Diaz,
not finishing the chances.
Can't score. Darwin Núñez is just fucking error, and then even Salah is missing fucking gilt-edged chances. And this guy's normally Mr. Consistent. Nobody's putting any goals in. It's fucking hilarious.
I love it though. I love it. His tour, his farewell tour. Do you think it was a mistake? Obviously, hindsight's easy in it, but do you think it was a mistake him announcing that he was going?
I was listening to, I think it was the Athletic podcast, and they were talking about Klopp's farewell thing, and they've been saying like the history of managers announcing that they're going and they're having to finish the season. They said it's 50-50. Sometimes, who was the manager that was leaving Bayern a couple of years ago? I can't remember his name.
Hansi Flick, Nagelsmann.
Before him, not before them. It was like way back.
Oh no, it is as well.
Yeah. So he announced he was leaving, and then they went on this like unbeaten run, like for like 15 games, and just absolutely smashed everybody, and ended up winning the league. And then there's been other managers who've said it, and then the players have basically just switched off and gone, fuck it, who cares then? And then in this one, I don't think the players are not playing for him. I just think the pressure's got to them. They've gone, we've got all this final season. We need to win something for him. Like we need to win, and they've put too much pressure on themselves, and it's like imploded. And especially the way they play this like high energy, swashbuckling, constantly going forward style. I think they've just knackered themselves into the ground. And I think those injuries that they had earlier on when they're playing all these young kids, I think that's now caught up with them, and now they're suffering the consequences.
Yeah. What are your end of the season predictions then? We'll just finish with this. How do you see it playing out now, the Premier League, the FA Cup? And the Champions League, sorry.
City to win. Because I think this is what City do, don't they? Like, the other teams collapse and have a fall, and then City just smash through a bunch of teams.
I'm just happy it's not a back-to-back treble.
Oh, God.
Thank God.
I would have to go on holiday for the next 6 months if that happened. That would be... I think that's the Champions League. Madrid's got to be favourites on it. Have to be.
Well, we've got... Who is it? Madrid, PSG, Dortmund, Bayern, right?
Yeah.
I could probably see a PSG. I think PSG are going to be there. I don't know. Yeah, it's a tough one. But who's Madrid playing Bayern?
I
Yeah.
don't think they've announced it yet. Have they?
No, I think it is.
Did they
Yeah,
have
I think it
delays?
is because Arsenal would have got City or
Yeah.
Madrid.
Yeah,
So
Madrid,
it's
Bayern,
Madrid, Bayern, and then
Dortmund,
Dortmund, PSG. I think you've seen PSG and Madrid final.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Mbappe against Madrid.
There you go.
Interesting narrative.
There you go. Might get injured before the final. Just to,
Oh yeah, can you imagine? So you think Madrid are going to win it? Yeah.
I can't count Madrid out. Every time I count Madrid out, they do something. So I'm not going to do it. As long as Arsenal and City don't win it, I'm all right. Let's just enjoy it.
Premier League, City's to lose now.
City's to lose.
The other teams almost have to be perfect, don't they?
They have to win every game, and you have to hope that City lose. And
Yeah.
City are very capable of just steamrolling 8 games and not dropping a point. So
Absolutely, yeah. And also Arsenal's still got Spurs to play, North London derby, United to play. Yeah. So yeah, and then finally the FA Cup predictions.
That's the tough one. That's the tough one because I think Chelsea have got the potential to provide a hiccup in the cup for City, and I don't trust United to get the job done against Coventry either. So it could well be.
It could actually be either way, couldn't it? Like you could have
be a
Chelsea final,
Chelsea Coventry final, and then obviously we'll be wearing our Coventry shirts and hoping they beat Chelsea. Sure. And it could well be a City United final, and if it is, I can't look past City. Like,
you need redemption in it, though. Yeah. You can't if you get beat for a second time in a row.
I'd love it to happen, but I just don't have any faith that we will.
I agree.
And we can. I've not seen anything from these players that says, or this manager that says we can beat City in a major final. I just don't. So if it is City United, I think City win it. But I could easily see a Coventry Chelsea thing, and then that's a coin toss, isn't it? Because Chelsea might show up, or they might not. So it could be either way.
Yeah. Well, that's a perfect place to leave it, of course, because we will be live on Sunday, pre-match and post-match, discussing the semi-final in the FA Cup against Coventry. We'll also have a couple of news shows for you guys tomorrow, so keep an eye out for that and make sure you turn on the notification bell so you don't miss a thing. We are currently on 4,781 subs. We're 19 subscribers away from 4,800. If you could be so lovely on this late night, whether you watch this live or later, to hit that subscribe button, that would be amazing. Drop us a follow on socials. All the tags are at the top. And me and Sam will see you guys in the next one. Thank you for tuning in. Take it easy.
Yeah. Keep your eye out. Special guest next week. Eyes peeled.
Yeah, man.
See you later.
Go.